For many years, we did workshops on change, and we realized that sometimes we'd do the workshop and change occurred. There were other times that we would do the same workshop and there would be transformations. Literally, people were transformed, they were different. And in trying to determine why that happened, what was going on that was different, we identified that people that came with particularly high degrees of authority, people that knew themselves well, and if they were also came with high levels of responsibility. If there were groups that had sufficient numbers of people like that, likely good things, transforming things were going to happen, and did. And so after years of observation, and then we developed the ARPe, which basically assessed authority, responsibility, and perceptions of power. After 20 years of using that, we now added the trust dimension, and so we called it authority, responsibility, and power expanding. You do experience authority, that is, how do I know myself? How much confidence do I put in what I'm doing? How much trust do I put in that? You also experience responsibility. How well am I working with other people? And how am I connecting with them? And if you're fortunate enough to experience power in different ways, that's great too. And invariably, you learn how to trust yourself more and trust others in ways that you might not have been doing so in the past.
Who do you offer this test?
Primarily psychologists or consultants, both internal consultants in companies or external consultants, is our primary audience. It probably is one of the greatest predictors of success. It's very similar to emotional intelligence tests. Basically, emotional intelligence is how well do you know yourself, how well can you play with others. The ARPE does the same. Adds maybe a value dimension and a trust dimension, but basically the same. Particularly in identifying individuals and how well individuals can work together. It's not a tool that, it can be a tool for self-development and understanding myself and working with others better, but more often it's how do groups or organizations work. Oftentimes we'll go into an organization and we'll give large numbers of people the ARPE and then identify pockets of excellence within that group. What are they doing right? How are they doing it? And then to have that flow throughout the company. So it's unique in that sense, I would say. The reliability coefficients both in the US and in Hungary are quite high. The alphas range from 0.81 to 0.91 in both countries, so scales are all very good. In terms of validity, that is it measuring what it's supposed to measure? We haven't done any studies yet, but there's a beginning of a study. Hungarian psychologist actually had 10 people, and she administered the ARPE and the CPI to both tests to that group, and there seemed to be high correlations with authority on some CPI items and high correlations with responsibility in some CPI items.